This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team, and welcome back. It's Sunday
Great
evening.
to see you, Carey Ann.
So good to see you, Monty.
Hey, I want to remind everybody that this show is driven by your questions, so please send those questions to questions@talkmusiccity.com. or hashtag #TalkMusicCity.
Yes, and the show is also a podcast, so you can listen at your leisure. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music, and others. Or you can also watch us on YouTube or our favorite Facebook. Simply search The Talk of Music City.
Carey Ann, it's great to be back. I love this time every week that we get to pull the curtain back, pull the veil back, and talk about real estate and share all the amazing secrets about mortgages and real estate.
Yes.
But before we get into that, let's talk about dancing.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of it.
Dancing.
I feel very elegant. I've now my stride. I'm gliding over to the copier now. Yes, but it's been a lot of hard work. There's such a shout out and an applaud to all of the people that actually do that on a regular basis and dance, because it is a lot of hard. They make it look so easy.
Way harder than what you realize.
It is, for sure. And so the big day, Dancing with the Nashville Stars, is coming up this
November
Tuesday.
5th.
Yes, November 5th. So excited if anybody is still out there and who would like to donate. Again, the event is to raise as much money as we can for an amazing local Tennessee cause, Feed America First. They're a Tennessee-based organization. They raise and feed so much money and feed so many families. Again, $100, I think, creates over 1,000 meals. Tom Henry was in the studio a week or so ago. Just such a pleasure having him with us, but excited to really just should have the show.
Carey Ann, you're not one to back off from a challenge. Has this been challenging or what?
Well, it has been challenging because I went in probably thinking I could actually pick this up a little faster. If you dance every dance at a wedding, why can't you pick up this type of dancing? This should be easy. But and oh, by the way, the song should only be 3 minutes long, right? So it's how hard is it? But I went in asking for some extremes. I wanted slow to fast. I wanted a costume change. I wanted all of these things. All of a sudden, I found myself doing a solo, then doing a side by side, and a major costume change. So this is
all in 3 minutes.
All in 3 minutes. So it's I did it to myself, but it is for a great cause. I will tell you, it's one of the hardest challenges I've it was one of the hardest I've ever done. I mean, I just, until you walk in those shoes, until you feel the pressure of generating enough funds that to make sure it's a worthy that you're playing a worthy part in the whole effort. That's the part I think that got to me the most, was knowing that this organization is counting on this experience, counting on me to generate enough money to feed. I mean, their goal is to feed over a million people, provide over 1 million meals with this effort. And they do it every year, and it really is an amazing cause. And the show, I will tell you, will be great. I mean, if nothing else, the 2.5 minutes that I'm going to do,
that'll be worth the admission.
Whether you laugh, you could cry. You don't know what you're going to do with mine, but it is one that you will remember for sure.
I thought after that much focus, because I went through the whole deal and then ran out of and had to buy more lessons, to get to the finish line. And I thought, okay, well, if nothing else happens from this experience, I'm going to be the grand master poobah at all the different, weddings or dances or whatever I might find myself in from then on for the rest of my life. I haven't danced since then. I've been scared to.
I know, exactly. And what's hilarious is I first started when I don't know, what was it, 5-6 weeks ago when I started, I went on Amazon, bought myself some dancing shoes, and I wear heels to work on a regular basis. So I'm like, this should be easy, right? I bought the dancing shoes and the heels, and literally I lasted maybe 2.5 weeks. I was like, can I wear sneakers? This is, my feet are killing me. So the last so many weeks I've been practicing on just my regular Target shoes, which I think is you're not supposed to do, just the regular shoes you have that are flats. And so now this past week, they're really on me to be able to, get my heels back on. Sure. So, and then, oh, by the way, you have to smile and actually perform. On top of knowing your dance moves, your feet, you actually have to flow and look, girly, they go, and look, princessy, and smile like you are enjoying this.
Princessy.
It's great. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait.
Have you heard who the judges are going to be yet?
Well, I know one of the judges is the gentleman who's my choreographer, and so I keep reminding him and he's like a father figure. I feel like every time he looks at me, I get so nervous, and then I mess up, because I feel like I can see him outside the window, from the door far away. But I keep reminding him, I was like, you remember this mortgage lender who came in, who actually, did the leg guitar, and who knew nothing about professionally dancing. And now look at me, right? So I think I should get most improved points. If nothing else, I would like those points. So make sure you put those on there. So,
speaking from experience, you never know what these judges are going to say.
Right. I mean, did you have some interesting feedback on?
Well, most of us maybe listening to this show remember the wonderful, fabulous, my good friend Ralph Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the judges that night. And, I thought, Ralph and I were friends. I thought he'd be kind to me. He said, "Do you call that dancing, Monte?"
Really?
in his baritone voice. I mean, I was crushed.
Oh, I hope there's been bruises all over me.
Are you doing Bunzarola?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing my buns are all rolling there, Monte, on the ground. So, yes, I am doing that.
Oh,
that was the scariest thing. I was like, you want me to do what? I'm sorry? And what? Again? So now I just commit. So I think I fall too fast because I'm like, just get my buns on the floor and then roll as quickly, as possible. So then you have to just pop up like a featherly light person. And they're like, you're supposed to use those muscles. I'm like, oh yeah, those muscles haven't been used in a really long time, Really
Your Bunzarola muscles?
Yeah, so, but it's for a great cause. We'd love for you to come out. You can get your ticket, last minute tickets. It's at FAFWCA.com. That's FAFWCA.com. It's Feed America First with CA.com. Also, you could get those there. So if not, just a great donation. Remember, $100 creates 1,000 meals. So anything that you can give is so greatly appreciated.
To know this organization is to love this organization, and that's not what today's show is about. But I always embrace every opportunity I can to encourage folks to help support this cause. There's nothing that's more intimate to a person's need in life than food, and maybe oxygen or water might trump that. But to think about the number of people that are going to bed hungry at night, the elderly that aren't sure if they should buy their groceries or their medication. It's heart-wrenching when we live in the wealthiest country in the world, and still 40% of all food that's created in this country goes to landfills. That's not right. And Tom and Feed America First are helping to prevent that. Percentage anyhow.
Absolutely.
So, welcome back.
Yes.
to the talk of Music City Real Estate. We have with us Mr. Jim McCarthy today. I'm glad that Jim has joined us. Hello,
Jim. We always
Jim.
love having Jim.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fabulous, Jim. Good to see you.
It's Sunday again.
It is Sunday.
Gotta love that.
Yes.
And Jim is with us every week, so it's always great when he gets behind the mic.
Since he has way more experience than the rest of us put together.
Do you know the other night I was, getting ready for bed, and I was going through the channels, and I'm like, why do I hear Jim? Why do I hear Jim?
I'm everywhere.
I'm like, right? So all of a sudden I had to rewind. It was a commercial, and I videotaped it, and I texted to Jim. I said, I swear this is you. And he says, yes, it is. It was the voiceover. He does some amazing voiceovers, right. But I was like just sitting there going, Jim is everywhere. I hear Jim in my head everywhere I go.
Even on the front of the show.
Yes, you do. Yeah, we just thank you for that.
What was it she was listening to?
It was a
commercial, I think.
A commercial for a
law.
High-profile personal injury attorney.
Yep.
Wow.
That's the name I don't know if I should mention or what. So, yeah, then we'll leave it at that.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You are.
At least I wasn't losing my mind, because I'm like, true. I swear, I was like, I swear this is Jim. I kept going. I was like, forget it. I'm just going to rewind and send it to him and confirm it.
My kids recently heard that same or saw that same commercial, and they came running out very impressed that they heard Daddy on TV.
There you go.
Although they've heard me on the radio for well over a
But
decade.
You made the TV. There's the difference, even though it's voice. Yeah, even though that's the same voice, right? I love it. Well, we love Jim. Thank you so much for being with us this evening on the mic. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about tonight.
Understand you've got some questions that you wanted to share with us tonight, Jim. Is that correct?
I do. I think we'll rack them up and cue them for the next segment. What do you think?
Yeah, there's some awesome questions here. I think questions that everybody would be interested in.
Yeah, this is kind of like a take the temperature of the market kind of show we're going to have.
Right.
So,
like what's going on in the market, guys?
Exactly.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So,
yeah.
Back to you, Carey Ann. What's going on in the mortgage world?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought we were jumping in there. Yeah, I mean, rates are still strong. I think last week we talked about, is it the right time to refinance? We've been helping a lot of families save money, consolidate debt, pull some cash out to do some remodeling. Mm-hmm. They love watching those home improvement shows, so they get excited, especially if you can do that and keep your mortgage payment the same as it is right now, is a huge win for so many families. And they also get to skip one mortgage payment, which is a little relief. And so we're getting close to the holiday season. I can't believe it's almost here. And so getting ready, maybe to save a little bit of money by doing that, refinancing. So you have the cash.
Let's back up just a little bit. I'm sorry for interrupting you. So just so people understand that if they refinance with you, they could miss a mortgage payment?
Yeah, so every time you purchase or refinance, you're going to skip the next month. So if you close in the month of November, you're going to skip December and be due for January. So that does give you a little bit of relief as well.
Christmas shopping money.
Yes, kind of get regrouped there. So, but we have some great questions here. Jim McCarthy is with us this evening. We will be taking a short break here, but when we return, we have a lot to discuss. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate.
Hi, my name is Monte Mohr. I'm the broker-owner of Realty One Group Music City. I've been an active real estate broker for over 35 years now, personally selling thousands of homes. That's why I recently opened Tennessee's first Realty One Group office. As a real estate professional, would you like having it all? Cutting-edge technology, full support, world-class training, same-day commission deposits, all for free? How about strong collaborative culture, national brand recognition, new high exposure, easy access office, and a non-competing broker committed to your success 7 days a week? Now let's top that off with all experienced agents receiving 100% of their commission from day one. I know, where's the catch, right? There is no catch. Call us today and schedule a confidential meeting and learn why Realty One Group is the fastest growing real estate franchise in the nation. Call 636-8244. That's 615-636-8244. Or go to topagentsuccess.com. That's topagentsuccess.com.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here, Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
So good to be back again, and great topics I'm looking forward to getting into. And
I'm curious. What are the topics?
The topics.
I think Mr. Jim McCarthy has some questions.
Has those questions.
Yeah, recently I was looking at one of the apps and just taking a temperature of my immediate area where we live down in Spring Hill, and I noticed that the prices are they're coming back down a little bit. We saw a 3,500 square foot home that was listed for about $375, and I came to the conclusion, well, that's somebody who wants a really quick sale, or maybe it's an indicator of where things are kind of going. And what have you guys been seeing in terms of the real estate market? What has it been doing?
So
money.
So I heard a great analogy the other day, because the market is different than what it was a year ago.
Right.
So if you can imagine this, you're on a freeway that's, let's say, out west somewhere where there's no speed limit, or maybe the speed limit is 100 miles an hour, and you're heading down that road and you're going 100 miles an hour and everything's feeling normal and everything's cool and you're digging the breeze and so forth, and then all of a sudden you get to an area where you're supposed to be going the normal speed limit of, let's say, 70. And all of a sudden it feels like you're going slow. That's kind of where we're at right now with the market. I think the market is really more normalized than it has really slowed down. It's just normalized. I mean, I've been doing this for 35 years, and still, if you price a property appropriately, correctly, it's going to sell in a matter of, I think, on an average 24 days, something like that. That's not a slow market. Slower than what we had a year ago, yes, but it's not a slow market. So what you're talking about there, Jim, it sounds like a unique, for that much square footage at that price, that sounds unique unless there's something, maybe the house is tired or something.
Right. That's the other thing you think of, okay, what's wrong with it?
Right.
You know.
Power lines behind it maybe, or maybe it's haunted. I don't know.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. They're probably building houses in Spring Hill on top of, old burial grounds and stuff like that.
I hope not.
They're basically taking every parcel of land they can possibly grab and developing it. So,
well, you would think it would be hard with all the new construction around, because sometimes you see they'll start one phase and then they'll go into the second phase, and we even struggle with appraisals on the second phase because the builder is already, a lot higher in price than what's even been selling around, right? So we struggle with those appraisals.
They keep taking it to another level, and it's like, whoa, where's the precedent here?
Right. And again, there's reasons for that. I'm being told, cost of land and cost of construction, et cetera, et cetera. But you're right. I mean, when you're trying to compete with the new construction, you would think that would continue to keep the prices a little higher, unless there is something that's forcing it to come down. Or like you said, maybe they want to get it sold in a quick fashion or turn heads, maybe create the curiosity.
They're borrowing from the Monte Mohr book of open houses.
Well, remember, guys, to maximize your home's value, I think that we've described that a few times on the show, regarding how we do a delayed showing. We price it a little bit lower, not for the goal of getting that price, but to getting multiple offers on the property so we could help our seller not just maximize. It's not about jacking up the price. It's about making sure that we've got a solid transaction. I mean, Carey Ann, you had that experience where you thought you had a solid one and it wasn't. It causes you, when you do that a few times, it causes you to be a little jaded, and you want to make sure when you get into it, especially when it's your own property, I'm sure. Well, it's the same way with my own listing. I want to make sure we're building on a solid foundation. So, so to do that, I try to position our listings so that we get multiple offers on them, because multiple offers give choices. They give options. And I don't have to choose the offer where they're asking for $10,000 in closing costs and where on a price that the home won't appraise for, and those kind of challenges. Or I don't have to deal with this is one of my least favorite to have to deal with. When I get an offer on one of our listings and it's got an online lender, one of those people, one of those entities that wherever they're at, I don't even know where I guess there's a physical place for these online lenders, where they're working on this, but without local accountability and somebody you can communicate with that understands the local economy and so forth. To me, that's one of the worst. That's one of the worst things that somebody can do if they want to buy one of my listings, because I won't even. A lot of times, I just say I'm sorry to the agent. I can't tell you who to use, but I would feel a lot better with this offer if you were using somebody with a local accountability, and not just accountability, but it's helping our economy. I mean, I love working with you because you're helping the local economy. You're buying dancing shoes and you're buying outfits, for dancing.
Well, I would think the hardest part as a seller or as an agent would be getting this a letter of approval and just being able to trust it. I mean, can you even trust it?
They don't mean anything.
I mean, the amount of people, amount of transactions that have crossed my desk that have once been sent one of those letters, that have then been told no and now need to close. And I was in that situation. So then you go, I'll keep their earnest money. Well, at the end of the day, the time, the effort, the strain is the earnest money of $1,000, $2,000, $5,000. How about the one $10,000? At the end of the day, now you're battling it. Yeah. Now you're paying attorneys.
And you're not
you're not even going to get anything back from it. So
you're not going to get anything.
I would think that would be so just stressful,
I really, if I could advocate for something on that topic, I'd advocate for the contract being stronger for the seller's side and not, it's all written for the buyer's side, and it's not right. I mean, the greatest exposure is on the selling side. I mean, you got to, according to our contract, you've got to be out of the house the day of closing. That puts so much unnecessary stress on you. And then, of course, the other argument is, well, what if the movers scratch the floor or scratch the wall or something like that? Well, that's nothing compared to having to take everything out of a moving truck and put it back in your house because the deal fell apart at the last hour.
Yeah, and then your house is no longer staged, which it shows differently.
Right.
You
don't get as much.
And it's. I don't know how
that's what you experienced.
Yeah, I experienced that, and then you're dealing with that's just multiple layers of stress on top of it. I just don't know how you do it without calling the lender on a regular basis. So if they're not local, how do you trust that they are really, legit? And then, because here's the reason why I say this is, here's a deal. We get an application sent in, and they're self-employed. And so, yes, they made a very large sum of money in 2017, but it's the day before taxes are due for 2018. And so we need your 2018 taxes to make sure that you're qualified for. So because we requested that, and because they didn't qualify with 17 taxes, they now go to an online bank. And they print out what they think is an approval, which is basically, it says on their pre-qualification, you plug in your income, you plug in your credit score, and it pops out like your skee ball machine, and the ticket pops out, and it, pops out the pre-qualification, and voila, you're approved, and
bangity, bangity, boom.
Yeah, and they send that to you, right? And literally.
Oh, well, thank you. Now I know I can trust hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right. And I'm telling you that they're not approved.
Right.
And so it just so happened to be that the listing agent, who is way up in Sumner County, knows me, calls and says, hey, are they good to go? And I'm like, good to go. We won't take the name there, but a different bank. And I'm like, did they really even approve it? I'm not approved over here. I'm going to be a woman of my word.
Right.
And so basically he said, unless I have a local company approving it, I may not, sell it at this time, type of thing, because they didn't want to risk 60-day closing with an online bank of some sort. So you see that all the time. I'm not saying you're denied. I'm just needing a little bit more documentation to be true. And they didn't like that answer, so they just ran to the next, So I had another situation where literally this client should not have been approved, right? We had multiple mortgage delinquencies in the last 24 months. And so we, gave a plan of attack for future homeownership, et cetera. And they didn't like our answer, and they still wrote a contract, and they're trying to get a loan somewhere else, and that's not going to happen. Nor should you get that loan right now, right? We should prepare and gives you the best mortgage. Why get a loan that's not even the best mortgage, right? You're going to pay more in interest. You're maybe not going to have the best, all the numbers associated with it. So
the best rate,
et cetera, et cetera. Terms. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I lost that term there. So we can just get talking here.
Totally agree with you.
Well, let's take a short break. Jim came in and we just hijacked that conversation there. There you go. You've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Are you someone who is looking to gain wealth through real estate? My name is Carey Ann Cyr, and I'm with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. Whether you're looking to purchase your first home, a second home, or even an investment property, my team and I, we specialize in making the process of homeownership smooth as possible. With our vast variety of mortgage programs, our competitive interest rates, and our local support center, we have the ability to serve so many deserving families and help find just the right mortgage program to fit within your short and long-term financial goals. Mortgage loans is what we know, and approving them is what we do. We'd be honored to help you begin the process today. Check us out at yourtnlendingsolution.com. That's yourtnlendingsolution.com. Or give us a call, always a friendly voice, 615-456-4456. That's 456-4456. We look forward to helping you and beginning your mortgage application today.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here, Realty One Group, Music City.
Hey, and it's Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
I do want to remind everybody, send those questions to questions@talkmusiccity.com or hashtag #TalkMusicCity. We're counting on your questions, folks, and there's a bunch of them. We live in one of the hottest real estate markets in the country. There ought to be a ton of questions coming in on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. So we were talking about, what were we talking about there, Jim?
We were talking about, I think, scarcity and the inaccuracies of pre-approval letters.
Oh, right. Yes.
In our world, Carey Ann, most of them don't mean anything, to be honest with you. I hate that. Somebody's put their faith in a professional that's going to, help them through each step. And when I get this letter, it's like, first of all, it says a pre-qualification. We know there's a big difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. A pre-qualification is simply a phone call. A pre-approval is they've actually checked out. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, they check out all the documents, the income, the tax returns, et cetera. But I will tell you that some people send out pre-approvals that they never reviewed any of that, right? And so I'm a big stickler in my office where I require them, if my name is on anything, I have to be true to my word. So you do not release my name on any document. And I would rather you wait a day to know that it's a complete, legit approval. I had a lady the other day. She has everything in. She's an agent, just starting to use us, and it's supposed to close. It was a short time frame of closing, and she says, "So, do I have to extend the contract?" I was like, "No, why?" "Well, I usually always have to extend the contract, And so,
isn't that sad?
It's so sad because I'm like, "No, not with us. We don't miss closing dates." When you have some core beliefs and you really build your business around those core beliefs, and one of them for us is not missing closing dates, you'll find that your whole office, if they believe in that, even from a processor to an underwriter, everybody working together, you definitely can make that happen. Now, that all can happen if the client gives true information and the loan officer asks all the right questions on the upfront, et cetera. So,
one thing we found in our office is sometimes agents, I'll just pick on our agents for a second. I love all of our agents, of course, but across the board, not just ours, but sometimes things aren't important until they become relevant. Things aren't what you're sharing about, for instance, it could be an inspection. It's not relevant. I mean, if it's not relevant, it's not important at that moment.
At that moment.
Well, it's kind of like the listeners right now that they know that in 6 months they're going to be in the market of looking for a property.
Right.
And my encouragement to all those that are listening right now is don't wait until that dream home pops up, but go ahead and get it. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything ahead of time to go ahead and start that ball rolling. I know there's a shelf life to it, but better to deal with the shelf life to that approval than to be scrambling after the fact and miss out, because when that dream home pops up and you don't have an approval letter and there's 6 other offers on the table that do have an approval letter, guess who's not going to get it?
Right. Yeah.
But it's just, I guess maybe it's human nature that we don't pay attention until it's important to us.
Well, when you listen to listing agents, and there's some that are just listing agents, that's all they want to do is just list and sell property.
Right.
That's it. So this lady called me the other day, and she's a listing agent out in Murfreesboro. And she says, "Carey Ann, I have 10 offers, and your name that's familiar, that I trust on one of these." That
would be the winner.
And she said, "I'm calling all lenders to feel their confidence in their voice if they're able to close, because we needed to do it in a short time frame, less than 14 days.
Wow.
And so, again, if I'm going to write a letter, I'm going to be very confident, within that letter. And so they got that offer because of, our confidence in knowing that we weren't going to miss that closing day. So that's a big testimonial to, listing agents definitely look at those letters.
I do.
And again, they are not going to say pick one over the other, but they're definitely going to talk with their seller and share, all the pros and cons.
Pick one over the other.
Maybe if you legally can do that. I was keeping it very compliant on the show there, Monte.
Well, I'm just saying, here's the compliance in my world is I want to do what's best for our clients. I want to do what's best for everybody involved. And what's best for everybody involved is getting to the finish line on time and not having to deal with, a scenario that should have never been, received approval letter to start with,
And then we can continue to go down this path, because now you have a lender who's very confident, that knows, and I dealt with this as the seller, a confident lender who knows and who even goes the extra step to tell me that, they could pay cash for the property, and which you gave me too much information, now, but you have to have a willing buyer to buy it. So if they have cold feet and they just decide at the last minute that that's not the home for them, now you're in a little bit of a pickle. So we are only as good as the buyer that we're working with, and you, the seller that, that you're working with, and their willingness to, complete and comply with the contract, the legal document that they signed.
But there is value in that. I mean, think about if you're a buyer out there this year and you're struggling with, you're not sure who you want to use as your financing because you're tempted to go online because you might save 1/8 of a point. Here's my promise to you. If that's what your path is, you will more than pay for that 1/8% of savings in hassle and in competency and just the way it works.
Right.
The local accountability is invaluable. But what I'm saying here is if you are competing in that scenario like that Carey Ann just described, it's almost like having the supersonic insurance that didn't cost anything extra to ensure that you have the highest possible chance of getting this property because you've got a lender in your corner that people trust.
Right, absolutely.
Anyhow, Jim.
Important.
Well, it's funny you talk about the locality of things, and it always plays out whenever you have some sort of nationalization of something that's going on or a broad approach to it. The local always kind of tends to win out over time because people see the homogenization of everything.
As it should. I mean, I'm all about keeping the money in the community, you know?
Absolutely.
Let's help support the local, you know, whether it be grocery store or barbershop or dress shop, whatever the situation is. Let's keep that. That's part of my rant when I talk about the stinking iBuyers out there, you know, those disgusting creatures.
I don't think I've ever heard you get upset about them at all. It's never seemed to be an issue.
You don't want me going down that path, I'll tell you what. I heard somebody say the other day, I'm just going to say this, okay?
Let's go into it.
I heard somebody say the other day, you know, with what the iBuyers have done to areas, literally, imagine the strip mining. I mean, that's a strong term.
It is, but that's what it is in reality.
But the thing about this, Jim, just for a second, if somebody came in to your home and started stealing stuff out of your house, would you sit there passively and say, oh, you probably shouldn't do that? Or would you get mad? Well, that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
These entities are stealing from the local consumer here.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel like your peers are getting as passionate as you are?
You know, I think more and more are, but, you know, I started this rant, you know, back over a year ago, almost 18 months ago now.
You've kind of led the charge on it.
Well, I didn't lead the charge, but I saw, you know, because of the 35 years of experience, I saw what was happening. And I immediately, you know, went on Channel 4 to complain about it. And there were people, other brokers, my peers, that said, you can't do that. You can't talk bad about another entity. Well, they're talking bad about us. They're saying that we're you know, a worthy investment to help them. And at the same time, they're netting the sellers far less money than if we were involved. We bring additional accountability is why they don't want realtors involved. That's just the truth.
Well, they're automating the process, it sounds like. And
that's what the consumer is falling for, is the idea of an automated process.
Right.
It takes the mystery out of it. But I can do the same thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We can do the same thing as professionals. If we price the property properly and do what I talked about as far as the delayed showing scenario where we got, you know, multiple offers, we can do the same thing. We can dictate when the home closes and for how much, and it'd be a heck of a lot more than what those iBuyers are going to net them.
Well, there's a personal touch involved.
Well, and not only that, yeah, exactly. There's the personal touch because there's somebody who cares, whose allegiance is to the consumer, not the stockholders back in
Wall Street.
You know, well, in Seattle, Washington, to be more specific, and San Francisco, California. That's where these companies are headquartered, and that's where the money's being shipped to. They don't care about the local economy. They don't care about the local homeowner. I do, and my peers do.
Well, I mean, there's an automation aspect to the mortgage process as well that's emerging, is there? That's what I'm hearing as well.
That's what these companies want to get into. I mean, have you heard that some of these iBuyers, like Zillow, that's what they're after, is the mortgage part of it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, some people will give the real estate for free to get the mortgage part, you know.
Sounds like the car business.
Yeah, I mean,
it really does.
Again, at the end of the day, you just have to continue to walk forward and do what you do best with the correct intentions. You know, and I do loans for people not because I'm making a couple extra dollars, it's because the right thing. The last couple loans I did were for free because they needed a new home, and the only way they could get that home was to, you know, get this mortgage, and it didn't cost it. I just use all my commission on it to make that happen for them, right? That was the right thing to do. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that with an online bank at all.
They could care less.
You know, and so that's the whole point, is I think just focusing on just taking care of our consumer, I think will keep us very busy. Yes. Do I think marketing and creating curiosity that might be a little better than ours has turned heads, and they got the attention of that customer before you and I? Probably, because they had more money to do it, right? And so
this one particular one has $1.4 billion that they're throwing at the marketing. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's just insane.
I don't have that.
No. And so I think somebody who's going to turn a head for that may never have turned their head for us anyways. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't believe that. I'm sorry. No.
Oh, good. We finally have... we're going to battle it out now.
But I mean, a lot of the...
We've finally got something we can do.
When you have these types of companies that are introducing or starting the conversations, that's your job to come in behind and continue those conversations. This way, when they do the Google searches, they can actually discover that, hey, there's more than meets the eye with these things. There's actually a virtue with going with the local heroes. You know, so that's, keep on championing that cause for sure.
There's just nothing positive. I mean, I get it. Every once in a while, let's say 1 out of 100 times, wholesaling your home makes sense. Okay, you just got to get out of Dodge because of whatever's happening. But most of the time, it's not.
Nice.
Well, let's continue this because I feel like there's a little tension in the studio, and I love it. This is exciting.
We got some boxing gloves in the next room. So.
I know. Make sure they're pink. Hey, you've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here, Realty One Group, Music City.
Hey, Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. Wearing my pink boxing gloves. I'm ready now.
You better be. You better be. It gets me riled up when I think about these iBuyers coming into town and taking my clients' equity. It does get me riled up. I can't hide it any longer. I've been too shy on the topic.
So we were talking, the buyer from a mortgage company going online, to get their mortgage financing. Do they even want to talk to a person, human? Do they just want to push a few buttons?
I think they do.
Maybe they do.
There are certainly different types of buyers out there.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of placate to them.
Well, I think maybe the younger folks would rather go ahead and push a button. Maybe.
I mean, it is crazy. I just grew up in a way of, I don't know, just there's certain ways of doing things, right? And so for me to get random text, which I actually just got one, I'm ready to buy a home. Can you help me? So that's a text message that I got from a customer that I do not know, and they just text me out of the blue that they need help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That just seems a different world. There's a different world. Like people just are, what about the phone call to an office that opens up at 8 o'clock? Like when I'm going to a doctor's office, I know it opens at 8.
You're not texting your doctor right now.
Right. I need, prescription, type of thing. So.
Well, here's a good little picture to paint. You're in Kroger. Do you use the self-checkout, or would you rather go with the 10 items or less lady and have it all done for you?
I'd much rather have the lady do it.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to. If there's not a long line,
right. If I have 2 or less items, and I got Aubrey, we're out.
Yeah. You do the checkout by yourself?
Well, I've always desired to be. I always miss that.
Or you just take it.
No, I've always wanted to be a cashier, and so some days I enjoy that part.
Oh, wow.
That was on the list
Carey
that I never did.
Indulging some childhood
because
desires.
I thought that would be so great to get to talk to people and brighten their day. I mean, some days I want to be like, "Do you like your job or not?"
So you just hop over there and take their place sometimes. Knock them out of the way.
I'm going to say the people at Publix, they've got a great culture, and they act like they like their job.
There is a difference. It's like sometimes they're trying to outdo one another about who can be the nicest.
We just got tires put on yesterday on our camper, and Discount Tire in Spring Hill's got a fabulous reputation.
They do, yeah.
My gosh, they are just happy to be there. Every single time, it's consistent.
I love
it's so
that
funny
kind of
you say that because I learned that about 6-7 years ago, and so you can just call one of those companies, and it doesn't matter if it's a female or male, most likely a male, and they have this spunk and spirit. I said that's the personality you have to come across. If you're going to be somebody on the phone, you have to come across like you really like your job and you're brightening up somebody else's day. And so yes, every client's a little different, every need's a little different, but the world of text messaging for a mortgage, I need $200,000, please. Smiley face emoji. I mean,
Make it
happen. Absolutely. And then I send the emoji with my head, with the glasses and my head blowing off. I just got that sent to me. I love these new apps. It's like, oh, look at me. Look at that. I'm blowing kisses. My head's blowing off. I'm crossing fingers. Too funny. But yeah, I mean, the world of that's how we're doing financing now is definitely changed, right? So the process of rolling out the red carpet, step 1, step 2, you receiving my thank you note, right? You getting that update on a Tuesday, has that died. Maybe, like you said, a different generation is not in need of that. But I'm old school. I still like the red carpet rolled out for me, at certain companies and things. And I would expect the same, with others. And so, yes, I would still need and want, your services with that human, touch.
When push comes to shove, I think a lot of people would.
Yeah.
Well, in our industry, the real estate, I don't think it'll ever be totally automated. There's just too many variables. There's just too many variables. I mean, they can go ahead and put their automatic door opener on that particular company's doors because the homes are empty, and they can dance with the liability of somebody having an accident in a vacant home or whatever, or destroying it or whatever. They can dance with that. But there's just too many variables. I mean, that it would take an experienced professional to identify for them. Again, I think it goes back to what I shared earlier on the interest rate. If you're going after an eighth of a point difference, and so you're going on an online lender rather than using Carey Ann at CMG, it's the same way with I think some of these properties. They have not been updated well. Okay, they use the cheapest whatever that they possibly can, this particular company I'm talking about. And so at the end of the day, they've not won anything by buying one of these homes. They've not accomplished anything other than probably future headaches because it wasn't, the seller didn't have to sign a disclosure saying what they knew about the property, because these flips, they miss that ingredient, okay? If I buy a house wholesale and I know it's been burned, and I pass that on to somebody else as a wholesaler, that wholesaler didn't live there, so now he can sign an exemption.
No.
Yes.
No. Wow.
And so now as the home buyer, I don't know what the history of this home was until I try to get insurance on it or whatever, But anyway, there's a lot of variables that it takes a professional to disclose and share with people. They don't know. They don't do this every day.
Well, it's the Walmart version versus the Mercedes version. I mean, it's, Kia versus BMW.
Right.
When you're coming down to these types of experiences but
it's worse than that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worse than that. I mean, if you get a Kia, you got a Kia.
Yeah.
But if you get one of these homes, you don't know what you got.
Right.
Because it wasn't represented by a human being. It was represented by a company on the West Coast. Who's their loyalty to? To the stockholders.
Yeah.
It's not to the local consumer.
Their bottom line, right?
So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I go down that path because I'm so angry about these companies. In case you haven't gotten it.
All right, I'm going to start ducking here soon.
Anyway.
Well, there's still so many wonderful people that are moving here to the Nashville industry.
I'm sorry. Do you know how much this company has grown in the last? Do you know how much?
Carey Ann's trying to put the positive spin.
I know.
No, I'm not done yet.
I love it, but I'm not going to say I'm not happy about this topic. This is nothing to pussyfoot around about, guys. This is bad stuff. Okay. Do you know how much they've grown in the last 12 months?
It's scary, probably.
1,800%.
Wow.
That's huge.
This year. And that's only counting.
Paint the picture of that. Where do they start and where are they now? How many homes? Because you painted this picture before a year ago. Where were they and now where are they?
Well, where they're at a few months ago, I haven't done the numbers lately, except I saw the difference of growth from last year in 2018. Their growth was at X number. Well, now their growth just from January to October or September is 1,800% over last year's entire 12 months.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's something to pay attention to. You know how? Because they're deceptive practices of marketing, how wonderful it is to hit the easy button no matter what that easy button costs, because you don't have to pay a realtor in the process.
And it's painless.
You don't have to pay the 5 or 6%, but you will have to pay, maybe 20 or 30 or the cost of a new car, like you have always compared it to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get on that tangent, but that 1,800% growth in 1 year blew my mind. That's because that's a whole lot of lying going on, okay?
Yes, but there are still so many wonderful people moving.
Where's
to
those
this
boxing gloves? Where are those damn boxing gloves? I'm sorry.
Moving to this beautiful city, and there's so many of them on and tuned in listening to the Talk of Music City. So we just appreciate you tuning in every weekend with us. And if you are ever in that market, you know that Monte believes in that human touch.
Amen.
And
You need an ice cream cone and a walk around the building. I mean,
yes, good.
Yes.
He's vibrating over here. I'm actually seeing it.
I mean, come on. They're wrong. They're stealing from our folks, okay? That's wrong.
I think when you try to make a shift and you take something negative and turn it just takes, some time and some power.
Carey Ann, I think the world of you, and I love the positive. I'm Mr. Positive sometimes myself. But on this topic, I am not.
Yes,
and I will
but
make
we
exception.
can continin to complain about it, or we can make changes and
No,
create
I'm creating
solutions.
awareness. I'm not complaining about
all right,
it. Damn
we're
it.
creating awareness.
This has been a great show.
We are creating awareness, and we are going to make. Yes, I love that. We're creating awareness.
My glasses are actually fogged up.
I love it. Well, Jim McCarthy, it has just been a pleasure for having you in the studio tonight. We're just so grateful for you and for you causing all of this craziness this evening. It's all your fault. It is your fault, and we love. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you again next week, 5 p.m. You've been listening to the Talk of Music City Real Estate.